In our Sunrise Smart Start, a street in Rochester blocked off last night by police.
They responded to Electric Avenue for reports of a man shooting a gun in the street there. The man, they say, went back into his house just before police arrived. Police closed off Electric Avenue between Dewey Ave and Shawmont Street while attempting to make contact with the man. They say a man in his 40s was eventually taken into custody and no one was injured. Meanwhile, 3 police officers shot during a pursuit yesterday in Buffalo.
Police say the incident began around 6 p.m. at a routine traffic stop. The vehicle pulled over and then took off, and someone inside that vehicle shot at multiple police cars during the pursuit. According to Buffalo police, all 3 officers that were shot are in stable condition.
These police officers are out there every day, trying to make this city safer, and they are going into gunfire, literally. They are going into the danger to make this community safer. They did their jobs. They did it with honor and respect today, and thank God that they are all going to go home.
Hey there, how are you?
2 individuals are said to be in custody, one of whom was shot by police and is also being treated. Erie County District Attorney John Flynn says it's still too early to tell what charges to expect.
State police releasing new details about the quadruple shooting last week in Williamson. Police say the shooting took place during a home invasion that led to gunfire from both the residents there and the intruders. 4 people were shot during the attempted burglary. Police confirming that the people who live in the home disarmed the intruders and then used their weapons against them.
I do not believe it was a random act. I think the parties knew each other. The armed suspects were met with resistance to their attempted burglary, and a physical altercation ensued.
That investigation is ongoing. All 4 suspects, we're told, are City of Rochester residents. Well, today marking 2 years since the death of Daniel Prude. He died a week after an encounter with Rochester police during an apparent mental health crisis.
Now local lawmakers are working on a bill that would change the way these kinds of calls are handled. Erica Cost joining us live now with the latest. Good morning, Erica.
Good morning. Well, that night Prude was naked and in distress as officers restrained him, placing a spit sack over his head. Local lawmakers like Assemblymember Harry Bronson say transformative change needs to take place when it comes to how we respond to these types of substance abuse crisis calls. The medical examiner ultimately ruled Prude's death a homicide and listed the immediate cause as complications of asphyxia in the setting of physical restraint. Bronson says the knowledge of this led to an idea for a bill that would require a mental health response only for any incident where the individual is experiencing this kind of crisis. Police would only respond if the individual poses a threat to others. The bill, called Daniel's Law, would create a statewide council to certify local units.
This really is a way to support law enforcement by having mental health crisis units actually respond when appropriate. Folks who are trained in cultural competency, do you have diversity in these teams? And if so, you'll get certified by the state, and then there would be reporting requirements.
This would be funded through the state and localities. Bronson says in Monroe County and Rochester, we're already funding mental health response teams. They would just have to meet that baseline criteria of the bill. In Rochester, Erica Cost, News 8.
Erica, thank you. And Bronson has confidence this bill can pass. He says the process of constructing it and communicating with local stakeholders takes time.
Well, in other news, the State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision will release 8,000 parolees from supervision by tomorrow. It is a good faith measure under the Less is More Act. The department announcing more than 5,400 parolees have been released so far. The act was signed into law by Governor Hochul last September.
James, we're seeing quite the sunrise there.
Yeah.
Behind you. Beautiful.
Yeah, I just ran outside the studio, just poked my head outside at News 8, and it looks really good. So if you can peek out your window, take a photo, send it over to us. It's a gorgeous sunrise this morning, but as the saying goes, red sky and morning, sailor take warning. We've got some rain and snow on the way. I would say we're dry for the next hour and a half or so. So if you want to get a quick bike ride in this morning, go for it. You've got dry roads. Temperatures start to warm out of the 20s once we get that sun up in just a few minutes here. Eventually into the 30s this afternoon. And this does not follow the normal diurnal temperature change trends. We're in the upper 40s by midnight. 50s to start off tomorrow morning. Bus stop forecast at the end of the show. Mark?
James, thank you. Another check of the roads with our sunrise traffic. The story remaining a good one at this hour. Live view of 390. No accidents there. No accidents on 490 or 590 as you make your way out the door in the next few minutes. Now to the war in Ukraine. Russian and Ukrainian delegates planning to return to peace talks later today in Turkey after Ukraine laid out neutrality framework at yesterday's meeting.
The Ukrainian delegation laid out initial terms in the first face-to-face talks in 2 weeks. This includes a peace deal under which a neutral Ukraine security would be guaranteed by a group of third countries, including the U.S., Britain, France, Turkey, China, and Poland. Russian officials said on state TV these proposals were a step toward compromise. As negotiators gathered, a Russian attack took place on a government building in Mykolaiv, killing at least 12 people, according to emergency authorities.
Well, in Washington, Title 42 will end today unless it is extended by the Biden administration.
It's a pandemic-related rule that allows border officials to turn migrants away at the border for public health reasons. Officials say that once the rule ends, there could be a spike of migrants arriving at the border. Alexandra Limon reports.
Good morning. Last year, we saw a record number of people arriving at the southern border, but U.S. officials say that number could rise even higher because Title 42 is coming to an end. Texas Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez posted these pictures on Twitter showing a group of 187 migrants apprehended by U.S. Border Patrol agents Sunday in Eagle Pass.
It is as bad as it's ever been. It's only getting worse.
Congressman Gonzalez says there will be a huge spike in the number of migrants arriving at the southern border if the Biden administration allows Title 42 to end. Title 42 is a public health rule that allowed border officials to immediately expel migrants because of the pandemic.
What you're going to see is a humanitarian crisis on steroids.
Title 42 expires Wednesday.
They have no plan in place to deal with what is already a disaster.
Republicans and some Democrats urged the administration not to end the policy without a clear plan to help border communities deal with the influx.
To address it, both from a public health perspective as well as from the perspective of Customs and Border Patrol.
The Congressional Hispanic Caucus urges the Biden administration to end the use of Title 42, which was initially implemented under the Trump administration. Congressman Juan Vargas said in a tweet, Title 42 was never about public health. It was a way to keep people seeking refuge and protection out. The White House says any decision on the future of Title 42 is up to the CDC.
And we are currently reviewing the data and evaluating it right now.
Dr. Rochelle Walensky says an announcement on whether Title 42 will be kept in place could come at any time. In Washington, Alexandra Limon.
Alexandra, thank you. On Monday, the DHS began an effort to offer COVID-19 vaccines to thousands of migrants in border custody who can't show proof of vaccination.
All right, let's find out what folks will be talking about at the water cooler this morning, especially around these parts. In the wake of that Bills-Chiefs playoff game, you know, the one where Josh Allen never got on the field in overtime, the NFL now changing the playoff overtime rules to ensure that both teams will be guaranteed a possession in OT. The last time the league amended this rule was back in 2010. Since then, 10 of the 12 teams that won the coin toss won the game. It's a day late and a dollar short for Bills fans, but at least they've got it right by most accounts going forward.
Yeah, sure, certainly. And I bet probably this year we may see that happen, where one team scores and then the other team gets the ball. How exciting that is. Maybe we're throwing around the pigskin at the bus stop this morning. It's a cold start in the 20s. We eventually finish in the 30s with a shower or two. Here's your 8-day forecast. I think we're all looking forward to tomorrow. What's nice about it is it starts warm as well. We'll be in the 50s, I think, this time tomorrow morning. climbing into the low 70s. Warm, it is breezy as well. I could see gusts over 30 miles per hour. And then it comes with a couple of storms in the afternoon and then back to reality by Friday. So a wild ride to finish the end of March.
All right, James, thank you for that. And thank you for watching News 8 at Sunrise.
Our next update coming up in 30 minutes. CBS Mornings is up next. Have a great day.